So let's go ahead and walk through your Unit 1 lessons so that you can get a sense of what will be on the test. So in 1.1, I would say as you're studying, focus on turning products into powers, which is another way of saying make these problems written with exponents. And then be able to turn powers into, or be able to find the value of powers. So to solve that by giving one value or one whole number, okay, which is essentially just rewriting it with multiplication symbols. So that was most of 1.1, working with exponents. 1.2 was all about order of operations, so really focusing on understanding how to use PEMDAS. And then remember we talked about how some students get really confused about this part. Remember, you want to do multiplication or division, whichever comes up left to right first. And then the same thing with addition and subtraction. Addition or subtraction, whichever comes up first, left to right. So that's PEMDAS, so being able to solve all of these, these are all numerical expressions because they involve numbers and operations. And remember, operations is just a fancy word of saying addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. So whenever you have numbers and operations, we call those numerical expressions. The key here is there's no equal sign. So we're learning how to solve those. Make sure you really have PEMDAS memorized and understood. 1.3 was all about prime factorization. And then the key here, I think, is being able to show your work using factor trees. Okay, so if you have a number like 96 here, can you make a factor tree? If you have 44, can you make a factor tree? Okay, so show your work there. And then the prime factors will be like the last pieces of hanging fruit from the tree. Okay, so if you have some number like 16, and then you make a factor tree, 4 and 4, these are not going to be the prime factors. You're going to have to come all the way down until you can't break it down anymore. So those are your prime factors right there. Okay, so 2, 2, 2, 2 are the prime factors of 16. And then this is 1-3 was really good for getting you guys to learn how to find the GCF in 1.4. Greatest common factor, so the same thing. And then remember, once you have the prime factors, you got to pay attention to my video about how to line those numbers up and whether or not you multiply the prime factors or not. Go back to my video if you can't remember. And then the least common multiple, again, 1.5, you're doing factor trees again. And then you're just you're doing something slightly different with those prime factors. Remember, I talked about having columns and then taking one number from each column. Again, go back to my video if you need help with that. So that was all essentially Unit 1. And so as you're studying, one of the things I thought I would sort of advertise is you could play a game at your desk to study all of this stuff. And here's one quick example of a game you could play. So let's say you're at your table. This is your whiteboard table. Okay, and so maybe there's a few of you sitting around the table. One thing you could do is use whiteboard markers on your table, and you could create like a little game board, like a board game board. I could just use a rectangle here. So you could draw straight on there if you have whiteboard markers. And you could create little game spaces like this. And then if you had some type of little object, like some little pieces for each person to have. I need another color. You could sort of just make this like a simple game. If you had a little dice, which we could find some in the classroom. You could roll the dice, and then you could sort of move on the game board. And what you could do on the game board is make each little block a number of points. So let's say this is 10 points, 5, 2, 3, 7. Wherever you land, let's say you move your green piece lands on the 10. You could have one person in the group take a look at your homework. So let's say this person takes a look at their homework from Unit 1. Like you could pull it up on your iPad and you could ask a question. And since on the homework you should have been writing the correct answers, if you didn't get the right answers, you should have the answers all set next to your homework. So you could ask somebody a question. So let's say you wanted to ask this person a question. And if they get it right, you could reward them that 10 points that they landed on. So that person would get like 10 points. So this is just a real simple game, a way of studying for the test, but also having fun by making a game. You could definitely do something more creative, but I just thought I would offer up a quick way of having fun and studying with some classmates for this test. Some other things you could do, don't forget that all of the vocabulary words on Quizlet could be on the test, so study those. And other than that, I just thought I'd make a quick video summarizing our test on Tuesday. So if you have any questions, let me know. And we'll just use today and the rest of today as a study day.